Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Janelle, and if you haven't watched the intro video, I'm going to be here talking about human design. It's going to go into personal stories of my life, sharing my knowledge of human design, all kinds of things. As a mental projector, I feel like my voice is unique, and there's not a whole lot of us out there, 3% of the population. What? So I think it's cool to have my perspective on things. Also, if you look at my human design chart, I'm here to share. I'm here to lead without leading. Again, another, what the hell does that mean? But we'll get into it. Today, I want to talk about authority. This is what makes a mental projector a mental projector. If you look at human design, there are 5 types. Some people say 4, some people say 5. I don't really care. Sometimes generator and manifesting generator are put together as one because they have the same aura. And I agree that they're both here to respond to life. That's what they're here to do. And you can put them together because they're sacral beings. They're the only ones with a defined sacral motor here to work, but also here to experience life in a way that is satisfying to them and to really give off this energy of, oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun in life, but I'm also working. Like, that's what they're here to do. So sometimes they're lumped together as generators. In my personal experience of doing almost 100 readings now, plus other people that I've just looked up their charts and been like, oh yeah, obviously you're a mental projector. There's some distinct differences between the two. And so that's why when I often talk about the energy types in human design, I say 5. But I don't care if people say 4. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. So there you go. That should show you how I look at human design. It's with a really broad scope of how does this fit into my personal life? How have I seen this in my life, like with my friends and my family? And believe me, the manifesting generators have distinct differences from the generators. And I'm sure I'll go through that again in a different video, like the specific differences and types. If you're a generator, a manifesting generator, or any type, and you want to know the distinct differences, let me know in the comments and I'll make another video. That sounds good. So I digress. We're talking about energy types here, and we're going to talk specifically about the projector energy type. This energy type is unique in the fact that it has more variations of it than any other type. The things that make each of these projectors different is the authority. So authority is your decision-making tool in human design. It's how you process choices and decisions and opportunities that are put in front of you, and how you go, okay, I'm going to go this way. This is the next best step to take. So here we go. And this is your authority is a big piece of human design, especially at the beginning. It's something that you can really practice with. That's why I like this piece of human design, is because you really have some action steps to move forward with it. So the most common authority amongst projectors and all types is the emotional authority. This authority, well, I should say most authorities, you need to take time to make decisions. This authority is a practice in time. How much time do I need to find some clarity? Emotional authority will never be 100% clear. That's a big one. So there's emotional authority projectors. There's splenic authority projectors. They move a little bit faster. They get quick hits of like, oh, I should do this. They get stuff that doesn't really make sense in the moment, but it might later, or it might for somebody else. But splenic authorities are here to kind of be in the moment when making decisions. Emotional authority needs time. Splenic authority can also need time, but, and this is probably where I differ from some of the other human design experts out there, is because I believe even if you are a splenic manifester, it is still okay to take time. Even if you know what your answer is. Even if the splenic it happens and you're like, yep, this thing. If there's something there, fear stopping you, maybe you would feel more comfortable if you talked about it with somebody, or maybe you would feel more comfortable if you slept on it. Really, anything. The important thing about the splenic authority is to acknowledge the in the moment hits that you get. It might be a voice, it might be a sound, it might be a feeling. It can go all different ways. The spleen is subtle and will speak to you in different ways. But the point is, if you notice the hits and you can't act on it right away, you're not doing it wrong. It's not like, oh, I'm using my splenic authority wrong. I couldn't, I had this thought that I wanted to go on a trip to the Bahamas and I didn't just get on a plane immediately. I'm not using it right. No, these splenic hits are here to give you a message like, oh, maybe I need a break. Maybe this hit of a vacation is I need a break. How do I move towards that? How do I go in that direction? That's what authority is here to do for you. It's to point you in the general direction that you should move, but you have many ways you can go. You have many moves you can play. I think that was the analogy I was trying for. Anyway, so we've got authority, emotional authority, splenic authority, and then there's two other projector authorities that are similar but not the same. Self-projected projectors are also very rare. I think it's like 3% of the population, same with mental projectors. But they have a little bit more, I don't want to use the word control, but it's the best word I have right now, control over their decision-making processes. They have a little bit more steps they can follow. It's not quite as vague. The mental projector authority, how we're here to make decisions. First of all, as all projectors do, we're here to wait for the invitation. So we're here to energetically feel invited and recognized into the situation. Recognition is a big thing for projectors. When you feel recognized, it's a big deal. So pay attention to who's recognized you, where you are, the environment you're in when you're being recognized, how you feel. What is this all about, this recognition piece? Keep that in your mind, journal it, because that is the feeling you want when you're making your decisions as much as possible. Obviously, you're not going to be 100%, but this is an experiment, a huge experiment. If I didn't say that before, human design is an experiment. You try things out, you see what works for you. I'm a third line profile, which means that I have a lot of trial and error energy in my chart. So I feel very comfortable saying, just see what happens. Go against your authority. Look at your authority in the face and say, I'm going to do the opposite thing. See how it feels in your body. See what happens. It's a huge experiment so that you understand how you're going to feel in your body when you're headed in the rightish way. So, mental projector authority has a couple of pieces. And again, it can be called none, soundboarding, environmental authority, outer authority. It has a lot of different names, which is quite annoying. I wish we could pick one. I like environmental authority, so I'll probably be calling it that. There's a couple pieces, like I said. There's the soundboarding piece where you're supposed to talk to someone you trust and just kind of verbal diarrhea everything on them. You don't want any opinions or thoughts or questions back. You might have to say, hey, heads up, I'm about to talk at you. I just need your support of you just being there. That's all you got to do. Thank you. It's hard for people to do, especially generators. My husband's a generator, so it's hard for them not to give advice because they want to help. They want to help you. They want to fix things. But if you specifically say, hey, I don't need you to talk. I trust you. You're really important to me, and I trust that your energy is going to help me on my path. Help me find some clarity. They think it's woo-woo, whatever. If they really like you and they trust you as well, they'll just let you go for it. So that's the soundboarding piece. And it's about not thinking about what you're going to say. It's about not managing the tone of your voice. It's about really just letting it fly, and you're watching the other person, but you're also just feeling the energy kind of bounce off of them and come back to you. That's the best way I can describe it for myself. I've heard it described much more eloquent ways than that, but for me, that's how it feels. I'm talking, my energy of my voice and the words and my thoughts and my feelings are bouncing off of this person, and I'm going, oh, I'm really into this idea. Oh, and I start to feel it in my body. As I'm talking, I get really excited, like it's happening right now. and I can feel it. And that's the thing for mental projectors to remember, that even though you have a completely undefined, if you look at your chart, you have no defined centers below the throat. That's what makes you a mental projector. So sometimes it can feel inconsistent to listen to your body, to feel your experiences in your body and go, oh, this is what I want. This is not what I want. It comes from here. You want it to come from here because as mental projectors, we're logical, we're ajna defined, we're very much like conceptualize this idea, steps, processes. No mental projector. You're here to listen to your body, but you can still use the tools of soundboarding, which, as I've said, is just that. I don't do as much of it as I should. To be quite honest, I don't trust enough people. I have 3 people that I would soundboard with that I can think of right now off the top of my head. But a lot of times I just like to make choices by myself. And I just like to go, oh, I know this choice. I know this decision. And some human design experts are probably gonna slap me on the hand for saying this, but I really find that it helps me to talk to myself. And a lot of times, if I'm home alone, I'll wander around my apartment and just kind of talk things out. And it's not the same. I will say it is not the same as soundboarding with someone else's aura, someone else's energy. It is not the same. But it is something that kind of helps you if you have a lot of jumbly stuff, which I do. I have an undefined crown, so I get quite jumbled up here, very unorganized, just very, willy-nilly. And if you want to help organize your thoughts maybe a little bit, or kind of maybe you're getting a little anxiety because there's too much going on in there and you're like, oh God, I don't know where to go with this. Talking out loud to yourself can help. Maybe record yourself and listen back. And maybe that will be how you practice listening to your voice and the tone when you say certain things. Because that has happened to me before. I've been soundboarding and I've heard myself and it's like, oh, it doesn't sound like I like that thing. It sounds like I want to like that thing, but my voice is like getting quieter and I'm talking faster, like I'm trying to convince myself of something. So recording yourself can really help. Journaling, sure, that helps too. Again, it's not the same as soundboarding to another person in aura, but all of these things can help because we can get really, have a lot of stuff going on up here, and it can really give us a lot of anxiety. Second part of the mental projector authority is called is the environment part, putting yourself in different environments and processing information. For mental projectors, environment is super important, and you might not realize how important it is until you start putting yourself in different environments and then you allow yourself to leave when it doesn't feel right. Because that sounds crazy. That sounds crazy, right? To just go to some place and go, oh, this doesn't feel right, I'm gonna leave. Well, it has happened to me, folks. And I felt crazy doing it, but I felt better after. So my husband and my sister-in-law went to this big restaurant hall in Colorado with a bunch of restaurants and shops in it. So it's this big indoor building to get some food. And we parked and it was crowded outside. It was kind of just crowded and bustling. It's downtown. We go inside and there's just so many people and it's so loud and you just hear all these voices over each other. And I immediately just got this energetic, I just felt like I needed to run. I felt crazy. We're all hungry and I felt like an idiot doing this, but I said, we need to go. I can't be in here. We got 10 steps into the big building and they both kind of looked at me like, okay. One of them is a manifesting generator, one of them is a generator, but they're both very supportive and open-minded about my stuff, but they can't help being who they are, So they said, okay. We got in the car and we were going to drive to a city up in the mountains just to have a little mountain fun day anyway, but we were going to eat first. So instead we got in the car, all of us hungry, drove up the mountain, starving on our phones. Okay, well, not me because I get motion sickness, but probably Devin was on her phone looking up a place for us to eat. We actually found a spot that was really good. And this speaks to my husband's design, right when we got there and got seated and ordered,
as soon as we finished ordering, a like truckload or a busload of tourists stopped, and like 20, 30 people rolled into the restaurant. So we would have been totally screwed waiting behind a big group of people to order and do all that kind of stuff. But we ordered first. And that's, I tell my husband all the time, you have such good timing, because he gets in lines when there's no lines. And then all of a sudden there's a million people. He will be driving and there'll be no traffic, and then we'll come back the other way and there's like a huge amount of traffic that way that we just were. It just, he has impeccable timing when it comes to not having to wait. I never thought of it that way, but he's still a generator, so he needs to wait to respond to life, but not as much waiting as projectors. So that's my story about environment. And I did feel silly being like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. But we left and I felt better, and the food we went and got was really good, and we had a great day. And I don't know if it would have been that way if I would have just said, okay, Janelle, you're being silly. It's totally fine. Like, just, we'll get some overpriced food at this place and we'll eat, and then we'll go have a good time. Like, just, you're good. You can do this. You can handle it. And that's a lot of my conditioning is I'm just as strong as all these other fuckers out here. So why don't I work the same? And it's because I am not the same. I'm a mental projector. General population is generators, and the differences are palpable, and allowing myself to accept them and embrace them and love my husband for who he is and love myself for who I am has been one of the biggest pieces of my human design journey. So, sorry, I didn't know I was gonna talk about that. Anyway, so yeah, if you feel silly, you're probably doing it right. Go to different locations. For me, being out in nature is really helpful. Going for a walk outside is really helpful for me to process. And I'm gonna give you another piece that I feel like I've learned recently. When you go for a walk or you go into a different environment to help you process an opportunity or information or anything, there's no need to have an agenda. There's no need to go, okay, I'm going to think about this. I'm going to process this. I'm going to work on this up here. Like, this is all the stuff I'm going to do on this walk. These are all the mental Olympics I'm going to go through. Have no agenda. Just say, I need to be outside, or I need to, go to my favorite coffee shop or the library or whatever. Maybe it's a room in your house, and you just go there and you don't try to think about anything. You don't try to process anything. You just take some deep breaths. For me, walking in nature helps because I need stimulation. I need like something to look at. I need birds and trees and other people to see. And the walk helps, obviously, because it's something to do. So a lot of times the idea of just kind of sitting with your own thoughts is like, oh God, that sounds horrifying. I'm right there with you. But if you give yourself something to do, maybe it's knitting or coloring with music on in the background, or painting or writing or cooking. I cook a lot, and sometimes I cook without anything on so that I can kind of process things, but I have something else going on because it can be a lot. So figure out what environments make you feel a little less. For me, it's a little bit less anxiety. For me, it's a little bit less crazy and a little bit more focused. And I can't even tell you the things I've worked through. And a lot of times my answer for whatever opportunity it was, for whatever invitation it was, I already knew it before I went through the process of soundboarding or processing in different environments. But doing those steps anyway really helps solidify it in my body, helps give me confidence, okay, that this is the right step. And a lot of times my choices are scary. My choices are do less. My choices are don't worry about money. Like, those are the things that my body says when I process, but it's scary. And so I have to look at those things and go, is this really what you want? And then I just say, okay, and I move in that general direction. So that's kind of my spiel on the mental projector authority. I'm sure I'll expand on it in some more videos, but for now,
I'll leave you with that. And if you have any comments, let me know. If you like listening to me talk, subscribe to my channel. And that's all I got for you.